Okay, let's go.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the new mindset of the Coachella Valley. I'm Jose.
And I'm Mariela.
And we have here a very special first guest, Ithsel Bautista. All right, let's hear it. Woo! Welcome
Thank you
to
guys
the show.
for having me. I'm super excited.
Let me ask you, how hard was it to find the building?
It's pretty hard. You just said colorful.
Colorful.
And I was like, okay, I think this is the only colorful building. I was like, Jose, where am I supposed to go in through?
He didn't send you the address?
He did, but he just told me it's a colorful building.
I sent everybody the address.
He was trying to be mysterious.
No.
What would we do without GPS, right?
I know, right?
There it is.
Yeah, well, let's get right into it. Well, first, start by telling us a little bit about you. Are you from the Coachella Valley? How old are you?
What's your social security number?
Whatever. Something light.
So my name is Ithsel Bautista. I was born in Los Angeles and I moved out here to the Coachella Valley when I was 5 years old. So pretty much I was raised out here in the Coachella Valley. I grew up in Mecca, which is like the east side of the Coachella Valley. And you know, I grew up there and I moved out when I was around 22, which is when I got married.
Oh, okay. So how old are you right now?
Right now, I am 26.
26.
My birthday
Young.
is in 2 weeks.
I thought you were going to say 23.
26,
Okay.
yeah.
Very,
Wow,
very
you
young.
really
Yes.
That's awesome. Hey,
Yeah, it's Virgo season, so
Yay.
my birthday's coming up.
Virgo people, I'm telling you.
We're perfect.
So you got married at 22, right? You said? Oh, okay.
Very young.
Pretty young, right?
Very
And
young.
how's that? What's your experience so far? Marriage at a young age?
Well, actually, I was 22 and he had just turned 21 because he's 1 year.
Oh, okay.
He's 1 year older.
So
I
you're
mean,
a
younger
crib
than me.
chaser, right? Is that what the kids call it nowadays?
Rocking the
Cougar.
cradle.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. And it was, you know, how can I explain? Like, it was kind of like growing up with your best friend.
Oh,
Because, you know, when you're 21, 22, it's like, you're kind of like going out, finding yourself, making a group
Yes.
of friends. So it was more like growing up with a best friend.
yeah.
I feel like we've grown up. We've been together for 6 years. And
Aww.
I feel like we grew up together,
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
And that's one thing is that there's a lot of growth in between that time frame, just the age of, and I can speak for myself, right? Just between the age of like your early 20s and then, now you're 26, that's, you grow a lot during that time frame. So, I could totally see how you're saying it's growing up with your best friend. That's really cool.
His name's Abraham. Some of you might know him. He's a musician in the Valley. He's been playing music for almost 9 years.
Wow.
And we met each other in high school. I was 16, he was 15. I was a junior, he was a sophomore.
Oh, wow.
And we had the same group of friends.
What high school did you go to?
I actually went to Coachella Valley High School. So
Oh, shout out. There you go.
go Arabs. And we would see each other, because we had mutual friends. And when I would stare at him in high school, he would actually cover his face with his binder.
What?
He,
Jose,
Oh,
be nice.
he
You know
would
what?
tell me, he's like, I get intimidated and shy.
Aw.
He's like, because, he's like, you're a pretty girl and you would be like staring at me. He's like, so I would just feel like, very blushed.
Oh.
And from there, I graduated. I actually moved to New York. I lived in New York for 2 years after I graduated high school.
Oh, okay.
I was out there for like culinary.
Mm.
And
Wow.
then when I came back, which was like 2017, 2018, can't really remember. I went on a vacation with my family. We went to Washington State.
Wow.
And I had Abraham on Snapchat. And I
Okay.
posted a picture.
Yeah.
I posted a picture. The typical, right?
Right.
He slid in the
Yes,
in the
little
DMs.
those DMs. Okay.
And he was like, you look very beautiful. And I was just like, thank you.
One question though, did you post it with the intention of getting his attention?
No, because
Okay.
we
She
knew
was
each
like,
other.
at that point I was already like,
We knew each other from high school, but it wasn't like oh, I like this guy. Like, I want to get with him.
Oh, okay,
you
so
know?
it was never like I knew that he was the one thing. You guys just knew each other.
just knew each
Okay,
other.
because you hear those stories where it's like, oh, I met him in high school and I knew he was the one, right?
Yeah. So we just like met each other in high school, and you know, after we just like didn't know about each other. We just connected through social media.
That's awesome.
And then yeah, like I was saying, when I was in Washington, he you know, slid in the DMs. He's like, you're very beautiful.
Yeah.
And I
His
was,
confidence grew at that point.
That's a great. That's the.
okay.
You guys hear that? That's the best pickup line. So try it today,
slid
or
in the
don't.
DMs.
Slide in those DMs.
And he told me, he was like, oh, when you come back to the Valley, he's like, I would like to take you out on a date. And I was
So
like,
straightforward.
yeah. And I was just like, okay. I was like, well, that I remember, I was like, you're very shy. So I was like,
Listen, woman killer.
I was like, I don't want it to be like an awkward date where it's just
Oh,
silence.
Yeah.
you still remembered him as a kid who would hide his face behind the binder.
So you thought you were gonna go to the date, and he's gonna be like, "Hey,"
Quiet.
with a
Take his
napkin,
binder with
and just
him?
take his binder. With,
Yeah. With the menu, right?
yeah. Oh my goodness.
And he
Aw.
was like, no. He's like, I've changed, you know.
I've
I've changed.
Straight up.
He's like, because when I first met him in high school, he was barely getting into music. So then he kind of like took off with like his music career.
Wow.
So he's like, that gave me a little bit more confidence of not being
Yeah.
so shy. He's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and now, you know, he's like, I'm not that shy.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. I was like, well, when I go back to the Valley, I was like, maybe we could go out on a date.
Right.
And we did go on a date. We went to a concert, actually, our first.
What concert
Oh,
was it?
okay.
It was Los Perdidos de Sinaloa.
Oh, okay.
Wow. And that's how you find out she speaks Spanish very well.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
I'm very fluent in my Spanish.
There you go.
And we went out to the concert, and we were just having a really good time. And I remember I told him, hey, I want to dance. And he told me, he's like, not that song. Yeah, can we wait for another song?
Okay.
And I was like, okay.
Oh, he
So
had a
then-
plan, it sounds like.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, okay.
So then I was
okay, I'm
like,
catching on.
What?
I was like, okay.
This guy planned
So
it.
then I was like 15 minutes went by, and I was like, okay, well, can we go dance?
Wow.
And he was just like very like nervous, and he was like, okay. He's like, I'm just not that good at dancing. And I was just like, it's fine, like let's just go dance.
Yeah.
So we went out and danced, and you know how there's always the flower guy, florero,
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
at the
Typical.
nightclubs.
Yeah, yeah.
So the florero was passing by, and the flower guy was passing by, and he was like, florero, like, give me some roses.
Oh, my. He didn't buy it beforehand. There you go.
Yes. So he gave me some roses, and I was like, oh, thank you. And he's like, okay. He's like, can we go sit down? He's like, because you shouldn't be dancing with like, you know, flowers. I was like, okay.
His plan in motion. I love it.
So then it comes out that after, he didn't tell me nothing, like after
He
the
just
concert,
didn't know how to dance.
he told me I don't know how to dance.
Yeah, yeah.
And then what happened?
And I was like, what do you mean you don't know how to dance? You're a musician, like you play music. Like how, you know, odd or rare is it that you don't know how
Yeah.
to dance?
Yeah.
And he's just like, well, he's like, I've never danced with anyone. Like no one has ever like teached me. And I just thought it was like
Okay.
cute. Like I thought it was
That's
cute.
weird,
Like,
like-
it was cute, like sweet. I was like, you've never like actually like danced? And he was just like, no, you know, I've never really like, you know, danced with a girl.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm usually the musician playing in the back.
usually-
I'm not the one on the dance floor. He's like, I'm not in the dance
I,
floor.
I usually
I'm the
grab
one
my
dancing.
I got my pillow in my room. That's how I dance.
He's like, I dance with my guitar.
I never danced with a girl.
my
Like,
guitar.
this is
Not
my
even at
first.
the school dances. He wasn't.
No. He's like, I dance with my guitar, right?
There you-
Yeah.
Yeah. We just kind of like hit it off, and we started dating. And then we dated for a year and a half,
Okay.
and then he popped the question.
Yeah.
Okay. And it
He popped
sounds
the question.
like,
Wait, not wasting any time,
sounds
huh?
like we're getting to the good part of the story.
Yeah.
I can't
he
wait to
popped
hear
the
this.
question.
From our studio in Palm Desert, California, this show is brought to you by Level 111, producers of the hit show The Desert Brew on NBC Palm Springs. Now, back to our host.
Well, thank you for that. Level 111 is a studio here in Palm Desert. Don't forget to check them out on Instagram, Level 111. Also on YouTube. All right, let's get back to it.
So how did he do it?
So he told me, he's like, hey, it's my cousin's birthday. We're going to have a party at my house.
It's always a cousin's birthday.
Right?
It's
But
always a
wait,
cousin's
I'm
birthday.
very smart.
Okay.
So this was like in March. And the cousin, his birthday is a day before his, and his birthday's in June. So I was like, it's not the cousin's birthday because I know it's the day before your birthday, which is in June, and we're in March.
Did you say something, or you just
No.
kind of went with the
kinda
flow?
I was like, I'm just gonna go with the flow.
Yeah.
And then we would always match like outfits, like colors. So sometimes he'll be
as
like,
one does.
yeah, he's like, let's wear red, or let's wear, black today,
Yeah.
or, and that day he was like, let's wear white.
Oh my Lord.
And I was just like,
she won't know. Can you
wait.
Don't be jealous.
wear
One day you'll get
heels that I love? Okay, anyways.
Jose, your time will come, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Chill.
So my brother told me, he's like, I'll go with you. He's like, I'll go with you to the party. And I was like, you want to go with me to the party? I was like, okay. But my brother was texting him the whole time, like telling him, hey, we're like 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because at the time there was no what is it, where you could share your location now.
Oh, share location?
Yeah, we didn't share
Of
location.
course, that's so
We
new.
didn't
People
share
think it's been
location.
forever. It's
So I mean,
not.
how was he gonna track me and
Yeah,
see like
yeah.
where I was at?
Yeah.
So then I get there to his house and I see my parents' car,
No.
my tia's car,
The whole fam.
the whole family's cars, and I was like, what is my family?
Okay, it's a
doing
very
here?
popular cousin, just so you
Yeah.
know. It's like the cousin everybody knows, so
Yeah.
your family knew him too, of course.
At this point, like, is your heart racing, or are you nervous?
I was actually very nervous. That's kind of like when it kind of like hit me. I was like, is he gonna propose? I was like, what's going on? I was kind of more like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So then I get to the house and there was no one inside the house. Like everyone was in the backyard. And all the blinds were closed. He actually
Really dark in there?
I know.
He actually locked all the rooms and the restroom because he said that he knew I would run and like try to like hide.
Oh,
Kind of like nervous.
this is how Americans
Yes.
do.
Kind of like nervous. And
Yeah.
and I was nervous. I was like, oh my god, like I was like, what's happening?
Is he kidnapping me?
I was,
Yeah.
like,
Is
really
this just a
nervous.
boy?
So then I kind of see like red coming in through the blinds. And I
Okay.
was like, what's that color red? And I'm like, I peeked a little.
Yeah.
And I see like a whole like banda, like a
Oh,
Oh
shoot.
my-
whole banda in the backyard.
For those of you that don't know, a banda
A
is
group.
a group of musicians.
Musicians, yeah.
Mostly, Mexican music. That's what we call them.
Yes. And I see like just the red, and I'm like, oh my god, it's a whole banda out there. And that's where I feel like my heart kind of like just dropped.
Oh.
And I was like, what's happening?
That was the first real moment,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
And I opened the sliding door and I was like, oh my god, and I just saw like everyone, and I got like very nervous. Like I just felt very nervous because my whole family was there, my grandma, my cousins, his whole side of the family. We had people fly in from Mexico. Like our whole family was there. And I was like, oh my god, I kind of like froze
Yeah.
and I got very nervous.
Yeah.
And my brother like pushed me out. He was like, come on, like you have to go out. And I was like, but I was more like nervous, kind of like in shock because I did not expect it at all.
Yes.
I
Wow.
didn't see it like coming. So imagine like just seeing your family from Mexico and people that you do not expect to see, everyone like there.
Yeah.
And I walk out and he's with one knee, he's like, you marry me?
And what happened when you said no?
Fast forward.
Yeah.
No, I actually I stayed quiet and I just gave him a kiss, but I was kind of more like in shock that I didn't say anything. And I just gave him a kiss, and then like a minute or two went by and he's like, is that a yes or a no?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was like, no. I'm like, it's a yes. I was like, it's just that I'm just so like in shock.
Yeah.
I did not see it coming at all. I was like, you left me like speechless. Like,
Yeah.
like what do I even say? I was
Literally.
like, of course. I was
Yeah.
like, yes.
Aw.
And, from there, that was March, and then in June we got married.
Wow.
Oh, yes, we
Wow,
went
so
right to
on
it. Yeah.
He knew what he wanted.
Yeah.
There you go.
Aw.
Yes.
That's a fantastic story. It's all.
Love it.
I think.
Cute.
So you guys have been married for some time now.
We've been married for 4 years.
That's awesome. And where can we see Abraham? You said he's got music, right?
Yes.
Where can we see him?
Actually, you know, he plays at a lot of different places. He'll be playing, like, for example, this Sunday at La Casa del Mariachi, which is a restaurant. So sometimes he plays, like, at local restaurants. You know, also he gets a lot of, like, private, like, house calls. So he goes to, like, houses and plays at parties and stuff like that. And yeah,
Wow.
it's going very well for him in music. He loves music. It's one
Very
of
cool.
his, like, biggest passions. Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes.
That's really good.
So he's seen you through your growth. Let's talk about a little bit about your career. I know that you have a large platform. When did all that start?
It all started, actually it happened even when Facebook was a thing.
Facebook,
Okay,
okay.
all right.
So-
What year are we talking?
I think I was like a sophomore, junior in high school. I was maybe like 15 or 16 at the time.
Okay.
Alrighty.
And
Wow.
That's really, yeah.
and that's when like Facebook was the thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Tumblr was around that time too,
Okay.
Okay.
which we don't use Tumblr anymore, but
I mean, I was
Yeah.
on MySpace, so Tom is still my best friend. For those of you
His
that
only
thought
friend, as a matter of fact.
that. Yeah, it's a thing.
and so I just started like posting pictures on my Facebook. I
Okay.
had friends. I had a group of friends, and we all started like posting pictures, just like of our outfits. So
Okay.
in high school, I had red hair.
Okay.
When I say red hair, I mean like red hair, like
Oh.
Little Mermaid red hair,
Yeah.
not
All right.
burgundy or wine. Like no, it was actually like
Gotcha.
red.
Right.
Okay.
So everyone like knew me because of my hair.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, oh, there goes Ithsel, like 2 miles away. You know, you couldn't pinpoint me because my hair was just so red.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
And so from there, I feel like I kind of just got like attention from my hair.
Mhm.
Right.
Yes.
So then I started, you know, posting pictures like of my outfits and just like stuff like that and tagging brands. But never did I think, you know, they would reach out to me, you know,
Yes.
to you know, do PR and stuff like that.
Oh.
So
Do you remember your first marketing PR thing that you did? Do you remember the first one?
I actually don't.
No.
I was
Well,
thinking about
if you're
that.
listening,
I remember my first major brand that reached out to me. I
What
was
was
like,
that?
Which was?
it was Miss Lola at the time.
Oh wow.
Miss Lola.
Yeah,
Okay.
Miss Lola. I was like, oh my god! I was like, Miss Lola reached out to me. And
Yes.
then, Laura's Boutique, and I think the
Uh-huh.
biggest one has been like Shane so far.
Okay.
Oh,
People that I've worked
the clothing store.
Clothing.
Shein?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow. That's
Yes.
awesome.
So it all just started, you know, from like Facebook when I was 15, 16. I mean, I never thought nothing of it. Never did I think, you know, I was gonna become kind of like.
You were
know,
just doing it because it was like fun for
Yeah.
you and you liked fashion.
Mhm. I love
So we
fashion.
can call you an influencer of the Coachella Valley. What does that mean to you?
To me, it just means, you know, I feel I've grown a lot, like, you know, as a person with, you know, even with brands. And now that I'm getting older, I've been doing it with like businesses.
So you help businesses in the Coachella Valley. How big and small? Like what are we talking about?
So we're talking about this person that reached out to me. His name's Jose. He's sitting right here.
Oh my gosh. Here we go.
He reached out to me, I would say maybe a year ago or so. And I started working actually with Sophia from Don Victor's.
Yeah, it's a jewelry store called Don Victor Jewelers here in the Valley.
Yes. So I started working with them, just doing like videos here and there. And then from there, it kind of like, you know, I started doing more, which would be like gas stations, convenience stores, which like I've even done videos for like AM/PM, Circle K,
Wow.
Dunkin' Donuts, Burger King, and
Oh
stuff
my
like that.
So you
kinda
do, like-
branching out,
You do promotional videos for
Yes.
these businesses in
Yes.
order to help them
grow.
grow and gain traction. Okay.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
Which industry do you prefer the most?
Honestly, I don't mind working with, you know, with any type of like
Any type of
business.
business.
I love fashion. I mean, I love jewelry. I mean, I love everything, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Even, you know, if it were to be businesses, or I don't mind, you know, working with anyone,
Yeah, yeah.
as long as it doesn't affect me as a person.
Yes, yes, as long as I totally get that. Have you had any difficulties? You know, I know when you first started doing this, you didn't think you were gonna grow as much as you did, right? Probably. And along the way, have you found any difficulties? Because right now you are an influencer, so you are like in the public eye a little bit more. And so do you find any difficulties with that?
I feel like now that like I'm getting older, I feel like now I try to keep a lot of things a little bit more private. Back then it was like, hey guys, this happened to me today, or this and that, you know, kind of like posting videos of what was happening to me like on the daily, or how my week was, or things that would happen to me. And now I feel like I'm just becoming a little bit more like private. Sometimes people judge, you know, or they'll say like, oh, you know, you're just doing this for attention, or you know, this and that. So I just became a little bit more like reserved. Did
you have something in particular happen that triggered that you to be more reserved, or it's just something that kind of happened naturally, or was it something in particular that triggered that?
I would say maybe just trying to keep, you know, just some things like private and not everything like so public, just not for everyone to know everything. Like, I try to still, you know, be active sometimes here and there, but not just letting everyone like into my life like I used to like back then. Okay. Like I let them see what I want them to see.
Is that more peaceful for you?
Yes, it's more peaceful for me.
Okay, I see. I could totally see that. What kind of projects are you working on right now? Are you working on any projects in particular?
Actually, tomorrow I'm going to be filming a little video reel for Shane. They send me a lot of bikinis, so I'm actually working on that video tomorrow. And then so far with major projects, not really. It's usually, you know, I just go on whatever comes to me. Like, you know, sometimes you know, they'll be like, hey, can you do a video on this, we're gonna send you this, as you know.
Kind of like you take the projects as they come.
Yeah, I take the
do
projects.
You have
as
a measurement of that, like meaning? So I'll ask you this question because it kind of, you know, listeners could be saying, hey, you know, I want to become an influencer, and I know there's steps to doing these type of things. Me myself, I don't know what those steps are. What type of guidance can you give somebody that wants to kind of get started on this? What's the first step?
I would say being very confident in you as a person. Being very confident is very important. And then from there, I would say, you know, if this is something that you would like to do, just don't give up. I mean, sometimes brands will notice you until you have a certain following. So just keep working, you know, with, you know, your numbers. And once you get to a certain, you know, amount of followers, the brands will come to you. I started off just by like tagging, you know, like if I was wearing, you know, Fashion Nova, like I would just tag them. If I was wearing, you know, whatever brand I was wearing, I would just tag them, and that's how it slowly started coming.
Oh,
and
you played the algorithm game.
Yes,
Gotcha.
it wasn't like Fashion Nova reaching out to me. It was kind of more like little brands, boutiques here and there, like, hey, you know, can we send you clothes, you know, can you promote us? And that's kind of, you know, how it all started.
I think that is one key thing there that people don't know is a lot of times people start off doing work for free, meaning you start promoting brands and tagging them, not because you're getting paid, but you're doing it for free, for the love of it, right? And I feel like there's a lot of people who want to skip all that, right? And they get frustrated and you know, then they give up too soon, right? But behind the scenes, people are doing work for free, you know, even when you're running your own business, you know, it also, you know, starting off, a lot of it has to be done for free, right? And I think that is very important for people to know that that's just the way it is in the beginning, right?
Yes, yes, that's how it is. You know, I would do a lot of things for free too. You know, sometimes the things will be, can we just send you the clothes, like not paying me, just kind of like I'm giving you my free clothes. So I mean, it all started like that. I would just say be very like consistent and don't give up. Keep posting. I mean, posting is so important because, you know, you stay more like relevant. You know, they're like, oh, she's posting more constant. You know, like what is she doing now, this and that. People get more like interested.
The new mindset of the Coachella Valley is brought to you by a few local businesses. We love to grow with the community. Here with us is Amari Skincare.
Amari Skincare and Aesthetics is here in Palm Desert, California. We are happy to see you in our shop, and you're welcome to also book online. Don't forget, you get $50 off on your first booking.
So and I don't mean to backtrack a lot, but so you said you lived some time in New York.
Yes.
What were you doing in New York?
What was I not doing in New York?
Oh, well, here we are. It's that part of the interview. Did you go to school out there, or was it?
Yes, it was more like culinary. So growing up, I would always watch the cooking channel.
What's your favorite show?
I used to love.
I like.
Which one do you like?
You know, I'm a simple man, but I like. There's a show on Netflix that I've been watching. It's called what's it called? The one I like. I know I do. No, but what's the one with the cakes? Oh, it's called Nailed It. Okay, I want to be on that show. You should be on that show. I'll tell you how to work.
Baking some?
Basically,
Pastry chef.
the way it works is real simple. They an actual good pastry chef comes and makes like a shoe that looks so real.
Oh,
And they're like,
I've seen that,
yeah, and they're like, okay, now you make it. You're like, well, I just know how to make cupcakes. And they're like, no, yeah, but do it. Like, okay. So it's called Nailed It because they show you like the perfect cake the guy made, and they show your
Crappy cake.
crappy cake. and you, out of the three, you know, one of the three crappy cake is like not the crappiest. So let's go with that guy. And it's just such a funny show. I mean, there's people that are like, you can tell that you got to have a lot of energy to be in that show. And the people actually legitimately, you know, win something. I want to be on that show. I want to, if you're listening to this, Netflix, call me. Call me now. But yeah, so that definitely is like a dream, you know? But what culinary skills did you gain?
So when I was out there, I was working at a 5-star restaurant. I was actually doing a lot of, you know, like fine dining. So yeah.
What?
Yes. I could cook, you guys.
But what do you, what type of cuisine?
It was more like
I use fancy words.
it was like Italian and more like steakhouse. You know, I used to cook a lot with seafood, you know, oysters, clams, caviar.
Do you know how to make pasta?
Oh, yes.
Like,
pasta out of all the things.
Ask my
like
husband.
would a Sicilian person be like,
Actually, the chef I worked for was Sicilian.
stop? Okay, and if you don't know Sicilian pasta, you don't know anything. So if you don't know
I
Sicilian
don't know
pasta,
anything. I just know fettuccine, as a matter of fact.
You stop. I just know mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese. There you go.
No, like it's the, you know,
I know.
in my that's
Some-
my specialty.
Some top shelf
Again,
noodles.
Netflix, please. I know that Sicilian chefs, I mean, Italian people are very proud of their pasta.
Yeah.
And like something I've learned is don't cook pasta in front of an Italian person because, you know, you don't know. But to know how to make it from somebody that's a Sicilian, like that is the town. I just want you to bring pasta here. I don't even go
Let's
there
just get to
anymore.
the
Can you just get to the actual
to the
thing?
point.
Again, Netflix. If you're...
He's hungry. He hasn't had breakfast. That's why he's thinking about pasta, right?
Let me bring the fire hydrant. He has more stuff to say, please.
Fire hydrant. Okay, so now let's go back to you know, your career and being an influencer. Have you gotten any backlash, any negative feedback just from, you know, being an influencer, being in the public eye? Has that happened to you? And if so, how have you handled it?
It hasn't really happened. I mean,
Okay.
I just received, you know, sometimes nasty, ugly messages, you know, from, I would assume are mostly girls, you know, just, you know, talking, saying, you know, bad stuff. But I mean, other than that, like backlash, I haven't really like publicly, you know, had anything or any issues with like anyone like that. But I have received messages. And
Yeah. And is that a constant thing?
not really constant. And now what I just do, you know, back then I would just like block them. But now what I do is like, I don't even like acknowledge them. I just like, I'll leave you there because I feel like if I block them, they'll be like, oh, well, she saw my message. That's why she blocked me. You know? So like
You
I
just
she
can't
like
win.
like the tension. So now it's
Yeah.
kind of like I'm just like I don't put my energy into that.
Yes.
of course.
And I
Yeah,
think
absolutely.
that's probably the best healthy way to approach it, because why would you let, that drain your energy or even
Exactly.
enter your energy space, right? Yeah, so yeah, something I was just curious about, because I'm sure it's very common, right? Use social media, there's these internet trolls,
Yes.
that they just can't behave themselves.
Yeah, I mean, Dungeons and Dragons. You can't win.
The new mindset of the Coachella Valley is brought to you by BuzzBox. Here we have Steph, our new editor-in-chief, to give us a bit more info on them. So what can you tell us about it?
You know what's great about BuzzBox? Let me tell you. It's eco-friendly, has natural ingredient-infused cocktails, and the packaging is vacuum sealed to lock in all its natural ingredients. It's gluten-free, it's kosher. Yes, BuzzBox premium cocktails are meany and mighty.
Thank you so much, Ithsel. Is there any last words of wisdom you like to let everybody in on?
Words of wisdom. A quote that I always say is, "You live and learn." That's always been my go-to quote. I feel like if it's something bad that happens to you or you mess up in something, it's like you always learn from it. So I always say, there's a saying in Spanish that goes, echando a perder se aprende.
Oh,
So it's like as you mess up, you learn.
Yeah.
So it's something that I always say, just don't be hard on yourself. If you mess up, you learn from it, get yourself up, and just keep on going. And you learn from experiences. Life is a lesson. And we all
Perfect.
learn from everything. And that's my quote.
Perfect. Yes. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for listening to the new mindset of the Coachella Valley. We'll be back next week. And thank you once again, Ithsel. And all the links are going to be here, so you'll find them. Thank you guys for being here with us, and have a great day, evening, afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Woo!